it took me uh quite a while when I first got this book. My first reaction was damn, like damn, you went in. And it felt sort of like approaching a lake that you know is going to be, or you think is going to be cold. And when I finally jumped in, it was not any of the things that I had anticipated, and um, took me deeper than pretty much any Holocaust adjacent book I had ever read. And I just wanted to thank you for your willingness to go in.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you could get some pleasure out of it, if pleasure is the word.
Yeah, being that my wires are crossed, it's always a mix. So I read about why you decided to go on this tour, that you were in a very deep depression, and it was the idea of going to a place where I'm paraphrasing through my own lens, obviously, that legitimized depression or was perhaps larger than your depression.
Well, both of those things eventually, I suppose, but just the sort of bonehead version is, it's like I was really fucking depressed and I wanted to go somewhere where depression was completely appropriate. And where on the planet is depression more appropriate than death camps? But people think, oh, you wrote a funny Holocaust book. And it's like, not at all. It's really about the humor comes with the experience of going with a tour group. I was on a bus full of people, many of whom had never seen a Jew, which is simultaneously hilarious and horrifying. But
Yeah.
makes for a good story.
I was also very struck by your homicidal feelings that come out in and the rage. Did you anticipate that it wasn't just feeling this depression, but rage is a great motivator. I
I
mean,
had no idea what it was going to be like. I couldn't predict because the rage you're talking about really came from outside of the general rage, being a human and wanting to roll your brain in broken glass just for the fact that this whole thing happened. But on the specific level, seeing a couple of young sort of hipsters bickering, in the shower room at Auschwitz or Dachau. The boyfriend saying, "Oh, it's not real. They rebuilt," all this kind of shit. It just, yeah, I wanted to stuff the guy in the oven, and commit the first murder in the death camp since they closed that I know of. But I restrained myself. Plus, the ovens aren't going, so it wouldn't do any good.
yeah, you trying to work all that out. And
Yeah,
as I'm writing my memoir, I hate that. I really hate that term.
writing or memoir.
Memoir.
Uh,
But that brings up what happened to your notes. Do you want to talk about that?
oh yeah, I probably the best thing that ever happened. I'm not a guy who hires maids, but my place was kind of a mess when I got back, and I always buy these lovely notebooks before I start any gig. I'm going on. And of course, after one page, A, I can't read them. B, I fill them up and then I can't find them. And I end up writing on the backs of, coupons, restaurant receipts, dry cleaning tickets, uh, shoe repair stubs, whatever is in a hotel room, backs of catalogs. And I just had this shit all piled up. And I got somebody's grandmother who was nice enough to come clean my house. She obviously said, "Look at all this schmutz," and just threw it all out. And that was that. So that was a few days of mortification. And then I just figured maybe it was a gift. Truman Capote used to say you could have a conversation and walk out and write it. word for word, but it's like Oliver Sacks said, memory is just a story we tell ourselves about what we think our memory was. So on some level, not having the notes might have been a more accurate version.
Well, I love what Werner Herzog talked about capturing the ecstatic truth.
Really, I don't know that. I love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, they used it at the start of the documentary author of the J.T. Leroy story. Jeff Fierzig put it in there.
Great quote.
When I tell people that pizza is served at Auschwitz and just there's no kosher food, there's a lot of pork, things like that. People who, first of all, some people it doesn't register, they don't get the joke about pizza, at Auschwitz. Or
Why the
you
Auschwitz snack bar after you work up an appetite at those, you know, looking at the ovens?
the outrage that I had learning that all the corporations that made money on the Holocaust, that they're still in existence. So
Oh, yeah.
this that
Don't get me started.
I like how you just keep asking, is there a way to to go to a death camp? I mean, there there's a certain kind of comportment that's expected in holy sites, and if you go to a church, I mean, I doubt anyone would be pulling this in a mosque. Um,
Well, that's a good point. It would be like a Satanist going to Roman Catholic Church because there were a lot of just hardcore Fourth Reich neo-Nazi types, shaved heads, the whole cliche hobnail boots, cheerfully getting their pictures taken, making signs, throwing Nazi gang signs, or whatever the term applies. And they're all over the place. So it was very, I'm not going to say surreal because that's overused. I guess it was just very real. It's why wouldn't there be those people? And why wouldn't there were some old people weeping legitimately. There were some
yeah.
young people weeping and there were people giggling and, they have to have a sign outside of Auschwitz, don't play Pokemon
Oh,
because
right.
so many people were going through there. So,
Oh my God. Did you take a picture of that?
oh God, I have it somewhere. But, the thing of it is, I'm not judging these people. It's not like I'm any better. It's just, I'm off to one side, just sort of checking it out and feeling like, they don't know any better. It's not like they haven't been conditioned in the world we live in to think that's cool because everything is spectacle and nothing's deeper and nothing has any meaning. So it's all judged on the immediate spectacle of it. And wow, look at these cool old trains, look at these barracks, look at these lockers with numbers on them, and look at these shower heads. And I'm not even sure that half the people there knew the history,